Hey, Steve here, and in this video we're going to be talking about how you can use a static chord tone to practice all sorts of different things. And what we're going to be looking at here is practicing scales, practicing arpeggios, learning how to visualize things better on our fretboard, okay? Because there's really two parts when we think about it to soloing. There's what we see, and then what we do with what we see, how we maneuver through what it is that we're seeing. But if we don't see it, we can't really use it, you see? So that's something to really think about. So I have a program that I call, it's called Chord Pulse, C-H-O-R-D-P-U-L-S-E, Chord Pulse. And I use this a lot for just practicing, but you could use a looper or record your own tracks or whatever you want. But really what I like to do with this is I like to set it up so it doesn't really have like a rhythmic pulse. So I'm not being locked into a rhythmic element, a tempo element. I'm just exploring, okay? So whenever you're playing with jam tracks, I want you to think about that. Think about the key that you're playing in, and make sure that it's a key that is compatible with what you're actually practicing. Like if you're really trying to learn the key of G, but now your jam track's in the key of D, that's great, but you're really not reinforcing what you were trying to work on in the first place. Why not find, there's 80 billion tracks out there. Why not find one that's in the key that you're trying to work on? In this case, I'm scaling it down because I'm not even worried about the key. I just want the chord. Okay? And the second thing is when you find jam tracks is try and make sure that, for instance, if there's a lot of chord changes and those chord changes are happening fairly quickly, well, now you're being locked into a lot of different things that are happening and it might be too quick for you, which is why I'm talking about this. The beauty of static chord practice is all you're trying to do is connect your eyes to what you're seeing and your ears to what you're hearing and then explore around the fretboard. So what I'm taking out is the tempo, right? Is the groove. I don't want any of that. All I want to do is explore the fretboard and whatever element I'm trying to explore. So I'm going to be using a track here. This I've gotten, let me find my mouse here. There it is. This is a track that I made with Chord Pulse because with Chord Pulse I can export audio too. So this is just the sound of a G chord. That's all that's happening here. So we can hear that there's kind of a repetitive thing happening, but it's happening so slowly that I'm not really concerned about trying to lock into anything like that. So all I want to do here is I want to start looking at my guitar and figure out some things that I'd like to do. So for instance, if I was trying to visualize arpeggios, let's say we just go with a couple of obvious things here. Let's say I started working on this arpeggio right here, G major. So I'm playing 3, 7, 5, 5, 4, 3, 3, 7. Okay, now again, I'm not trying to sweep it or anything. I'm just trying to look at that, think about what I'm doing here. So I'm playing C, E, or excuse me, G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B, and then I, come up there for the D or whatever. But I'm just trying to visualize that. Just visualizing that as I play. Now the next thing is as I'm playing that, I want to use the track and start not only playing it, but listen to how the G and the B and the D sound over this track as I'm playing. Now, there's lots of different ways you can approach playing arpeggios. Another thing I could do is this exact same thing, but maybe instead of playing G to B over here, I put the B here. And I walk up that way. And maybe that makes more sense in your brain and you like the way it feels to play your G, B, D here. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you practice that, that's perfectly fine. Okay? So, and there's lots of different ways to do these across the fretboard, okay? I'm just trying to show you kind of how to practice this. So the next thing I want to do is I want to input another arpeggio, and it's going to be this one. Okay, so now I'm on G up here and I'm playing G, B, D, G, B, D. Now I can also drop down, play the D here and the B here, and connect down here. See, I can connect that way. So again, start the backing track or start the whatever it is you're doing and start listening to it. But this is where it gets really fun for me as I start trying to make connections between these two shapes, if you will. See, so I'm trying to think about how I'm going to move. This is kind of a meandering thing, right? But again, I'm not locked into a tempo. I'm just trying to explore what it looks like and what it sounds like. Let me start that track over here. So then the next step is I start using some of the notes of the scale that surrounds this to push me to the note that I'm looking for, okay? To a note that exists within that arpeggio. So for instance, if I was playing this and I go to G, I might go to this F sharp and have that F sharp push me to the G. Right? Or I might use that F sharp to push me back to the D. There's a lot of different ways I can, obviously there's a million ways I can do this, but I'd like to kind of explore those sounds. Or if I was going to the note B, right? I might go to the C in front of it. And now all of a sudden what I'm doing is I'm not just going, that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to think about the notes that I'm playing that are correlating with that G chord, which are G, B, and D. And I'm now using some of the rest of the scale to push me around to make these nice sounding melodies, okay? So you might be using just the pentatonic, right? Or you might be using diatonic. The point is that no matter what scale you're using around there, you keep trying to elevate the triad, the root, the third, and the fifth, the G, the B, and the D as you're doing this. So it keeps finding a sense of importance. You see? And you just keep practicing that to really get used to the triads that you're trying to build or whatever, and then adding these in. Now, you could scratch all of that and just practice your scales, right? You could just take your static sound and practice that. You could do that too. There's nothing wrong with that either, right? Let me start this again. But again, for me, that still winds up popping out. The sound of that triad. Okay, so it's just really cool to kind of practice. So I'm going to give you this track and let you explore this a little bit and see if you can start trying to use it in your daily practice to develop your scales or your arpeggios or whatever it is you might be working on. Thank you for watching this video. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to support the channel so we can continue to bring you more free content, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications and let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you'd like more in-depth training and courses, go to guitarzoom.com and get started for free today.